What the portal giveth, the portal taketh away.
Okay, what is it tonight? At least just tell me what the hell is wrong. Do you wanna eat?
Okay, so I hope you're all enjoying a terrific week. Spring might finally be here. Get some spring weather this weekend. We have portal news to talk about. Have some Rutgers football coach speak to talk about. Got some portal news to talk about with football and basketball. We'll touch a bit on basketball as Richie and Mike talked a little bit today about, or Friday, about Ammari and Monroe from Quinnipiac. Nonetheless, freshman offensive tackle Ja Elyne Matthews, four-star guy out of Toms River North, who I talked about in the past summer, it might have been June or July, whenever he announced, is the fourth Rutgers player to enter the transfer portal this week, and this is the new reality. We're going to have to get used to this. The movement, unexpected or not, the constant turnover, this is now going to be a thing in the transfer portal NIL era. He joins fellow offensive tackle from Ohio, Dominic Rivera, three-star guy out of Ohio. He might be better fit for Miami of Ohio or Ohio University. Get some playing time more quickly. Probably doesn't want to sit at Rutgers. Tight end Matthew Ogani and defensive back Trent Brown, who's a walk-on. So not devastating. Rutgers always kind of prided themselves and did a good job retaining guys. Remember last year we talked about how, especially on defense, what a good job Rutgers staff did on retaining guys. And if you want to talk about culture and building the culture, that's what happens. But now as we enter a new era, we saw that with Nico, the quarterback from Tennessee, who just decided to up and leave. There's going to be more and more of that. A lot of it will be bag chasing, listening to other voices telling you need to go here, you need to go there. Or, which looks like it might be the case with Ja Elyne, you get a feel for the program, and, coach is big on culture, and he talks about how when you're a recruit at Rutgers, you're going to have to put in the work. And, talking to guys close to the program, that's what I kind of get. Well, what happened here? If you go to Rutgers, it's not Michigan, Ohio State. You're thinking, I'll start right away, but you got to put in the work. It's New Jersey. It's Coach Shiano. You're not going to just be handed your job. You got to work for it. Nonetheless, 6'6", 340 pounds. He had offers from Georgia, Tennessee, Miami. At the time, when I did my video last summer, the thought was that, Rutgers really wasn't at the top of the list, and it was a little bit of a surprise that he committed to Rutgers. And some might say, well, it's not a huge deal. He would have gotten much playing time to start with. He needed some work. But when you lose Dominic Rivera and you lose another four-star, 6'6", 340-pound guy, God forbid Tyler Needham gets re-injured, now you're back to having problems on the offensive line, which we've struggled with for years. The past couple of years haven't been as bad, but we need to keep taking those steps to get better. We can't afford to take any steps back, especially in the Big Ten. And we losing Alan Pierce at left tackle as he prepares for the draft is a big deal. And was a guy with 50 starts you didn't have to worry about. So I'm not going to just poo-poo and dismiss this as it's no big deal. It kind of is a big deal. You're going to see more of this kind of thing, depending on which way the winds are blowing for teenage athletes and those that convince them to chase the bag. When I did the video on him back last summer, it was a big deal because it was the third or fourth four-star recruit we had gotten within a week and a half time period. He committed to Penn State, decommitted. Rutgers had offered him as a freshman. And at the time, I waxed poetic about how, oh, no, it's not always about chasing the bag. Guys need good relations and leaders and coaches that show them what it is they need to do to be successful, and that they're the guys to show them how to do it and show them that they're wanted. And that might be enough. In fact, at the time, Ja Elyne said it was the relationship with Coach Shiano and Coach Susan. Took them under their wing, treated them like family. He said the relationship that he built with them and the players since he was in 8th grade kind of made his decision for him to attend Rutgers. And then he had that thing at the gym with Frankie Edgar, who's a UFC guy from Tom's River, and of course Todd Frazier, pizza delivery, and he puts on the hat, the Rutgers hat, to announce where he's committing to. But it's a dawn of a new age. All, the pizza delivery and, ex-MLB and UFC guys don't matter. They're just going to chase where their comfort and who's going to pay them and not be bound by a contract like the guys in the NFL. So we lost 4 guys in the portal. We'll keep an eye on that. There's probably going to be some more movement. Offensive line guys, especially, on the left side, they're not cheap. So you can't just go out. The portal, what the portal taketh away, it also giveth. But the problem is finding guys. You're going into the portal. You're going into the portal with the idea that they're plug and play right away. And if they're a plug and play tackle, it's going to cost them money. So we'll see how this shakes out. See how Cedric Rhodes, I'd like to see him get on the field this season. More news on football. It's a new era in Coach Shiano allowing coaches to talk. Of course, they don't say much. It's mostly coach speak and being positive and energetic and focused. This time of the year in particular, a lot of coach speak, not much to report on. I did love Colin Farrell's quote. I think it was Brian Fonseca from NewJersey.com, Rutgers Rant, asked about the impact of Bradley Weaver and Eric O'Neill on defensive line. Are they going to be able to make plays? Because it's an area we all know we struggled with. And Colin Farrell responded with the now famous Dennis Green coach. For you young people who might not remember, Dennis Green was the coach of the Minnesota Vikings and very famous for yelling at a post-game loss, "They are who we thought they were."
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
In this case, it's kind of a good sign. Bradley Weaver and Eric O'Neill are going to be guys that can fill in and play at the Big Ten level. We'll see how all that plays out. We're going to need them. Dave Brock yesterday was upbeat and positive. Talked about DT Sheffield. Said he's thrilled at what he's done so far. It was a little kind of non-committal on player specifics. Coaches, when it comes to specifics in these pressers this time of the year, are going to be kind of vague. You can expect that. Nonetheless, on to hoops. All right, so Mike and Richie from the Night Report talking about Ammari Monroe from Quinnipiac today, 6'7", 220-pound, small forward. Ranked a 4-star, 94-point transfer in the transfer portal. I didn't really see much on his recruiting rating out of high school. 18 points, 9 rebounds per game. Could have replaced some of the production of Ace Bailey. It was thought that he was coming to Rutgers, and he liked Steve Peichel and his genuine personality. And this is the paradox of Coach Peichel. He's under fire, a little bit of a hot seat. Hasn't produced the results on the court and executed the way that we thought we would. And I've said a million times, but he goes about his business the right way. Some might say it's outdated. You're not cheating, you're not trying, yada, yada, yada. Good guy, not going to embarrass you, going to do the right thing. Ammari said Rutgers pursued him heavily and showed that they wanted him the most of these young guys. That matters. Thanks to Coach Peichel. Drove up to Quinnipiac in Connecticut, spoke to him for an hour and a half, called him every day, met his wife and kids. And he was quoted as saying that Rutgers did not offer the most NIL money. Now, a lot of people out there are going to be screaming and yelling and saying, okay, see, it's NIL, but you know what? They're gonna chase the bag. Especially if other people, parents, relatives, representatives, agents, trying to convince them, a lot of times against what's best for them. That being said, this is where Rutgers is right now. Ammari said Rutgers absolutely was the most genuine out of all the teams that pursued him, and that includes UConn, Kansas, Tennessee, Miami, Creighton, Kansas State. I mean, these are all blue blood basketball programs. Said he was 95% sure he was going to Rutgers. Coach Peichel is one of the most genuine guys he ever talked to in his life. He talked to his wife, kids within a few days of entering the portal. I could just tell they really wanted me there. But the 95% wasn't enough. He said, but it wasn't home. I get it, but it's Connecticut. It's not California or Texas or Wyoming or Washington. I mean, from Bergen County, New Jersey, it's a half-hour drive. So we're not only entering the era of NIL and revenue sharing, it's the era of BS commences. Everybody's saying, oh, it wasn't about the NIL, but it's about the NIL. So we lose out on a guy that the Night Report thought might be the best guy on the roster had we landed him. And we'll see how that all shakes out. You never know how guys are going to develop or who's going to enter the portal. Guys like Darren Buchanan, cultural fit, giving his NIL money away, but most guys aren't going to be built that way. In other news, Mike and Richie also reported on guard Jadrian Tracy transferring from Oregon, another guard. And we love those 34% three-point shooters, 69% free throw shot. If you're a guard at a Power 4 or top program or you're in the NBA, man, you got to shoot 75% free throws minimum. But nonetheless, it's bad when you lose out to Virginia Commonwealth and the Atlantic 10. I mean, now we're losing. It's kind of funny. It's kind of laughable. We're losing out to Atlantic 10 programs. And that you thought I was just using it as a rhetorical device in the past. We should just go back to an Atlantic 10 Patriot League kind of conference, as we did when we were a public liberal arts college when I was a toddler. and play the Bucknell, Lehighs, and Lafayette's of the world, that wasn't rhetorical. If that's all we can afford, we might as well. We're losing guys to the Atlantic 10 anyway. So yeah, now apparently so here's the case where you go from the Big 10 to the Atlantic 10. Now there's talk, all right, he's following his coach, but I think we all know it's not just about that. There are going to be other considerations as well. Nonetheless, almost 2,000 guys, players in the portal, and no rim protectors. Manny, I hope you're working on your mid-range game because we're going to need it. We have the fact that we're struggling to find a rim protector is just astonishing to me. Night Report also reported on Rutgers radar is Tay Fields. He's a guard from North Alabama. It's the kind of program we're going to have to use as a feeder program. Averaged 11 points, 8.5 rebounds per game, which for a guard, I kind of like that. If you're not going to be a top-end scorer, you can distribute and defend and shoot 55% from the field, 74% free throws, 35% from three, which would he's at the top of the food chain at Rutgers, even though that's just okay at best. He would be a guy that's a cultural fit. He seems to be a spiritual kid. His quote was, I'm a country boy, so if I'm not outside playing basketball or gaming, he's outside doing yard work or hunting with his dad. Don't know if that means he's a fit in Jersey, but I love the potential for a kid with a breath of fresh air that way. So our roster, we have 4 guards, and only one of them, freshman Caden Powers, listed at 6'5". Everybody else is 6'1" to 6'2" or under. And they're all point guards. We're not exactly the long, athletic, defensive guys that we were looking for. Combo guards. The guys that we have on the roster now, you can defend against that. But at least if you were long, athletic, and defensive oriented, you could defend against the opposite team's guard, the opposing team's guard. We need guys 6'5" or better at the guard position. Don't know if there's going to be any left in the portal that will fit the bill. PJ Hayes was a bit of a disappointment. He was supposed to be our sharpshooter. Like Cam Spencer, couldn't defend. But at least Cam Spencer was 90% free throw shooter, 43% from three. So adding a big guard that can defend and who isn't a liability from three would be a great help. Need another wing. Now I think, Dylan Grant and Darren Buchanan will be okay. They should be solid. Will they be elite? No, but adding a third guy that could replace some of Ace's and some of Lathan's productivity brings a little bit of offensive productivity, and the ability to defend a little bit. That would be nice. Good luck with that. And we're definitely going to have to do better than Agboli's 3 points, 3 rebounds per game. I mean, I'm going to count on Javonte Ware. I mean, we kind of said last year, Lathan, we can't really count on him. He's got some upside in the offensive game, but who knows? Maybe Javonte Ware will outperform expectations, but at 6'9", 6'10", playing the 5 in the Big Ten is not going to be, I don't see it being at least year one terribly productive. We need a solid big man. And that we haven't had, since Cliff left. But even Cliff, we always used to complain about how he has, if he's not Duncan, he has no other offensive weapons. And he was a 55% free throw shooter. We don't need Zach Edey. We don't need a guy that's going to, it would be nice, but we don't need a guy that's going to average 23 points and 12, 13 rebounds a game. Score 8 to 10 points a game, defend, Clean up the glass, shoot 60 to 65% from free throws, average 1.5 to 2 blocks a game. We're good. Find some lengthy athletic defenders. You can get back to 17 and 15, 18 and 14. Okay, it's draft time. Been through a million mock drafts already. I know Giants fans. They really wanted a quarterback in the first round. You do not want Shedeur Sanders. It doesn't seem like he's going to be the pick at 3, and I haven't liked him at least that high in the draft. Anybody who's watched him, when he delivers the ball, it kind of floats out of his hand. Not like a dying quail. It just has a looping arc to it. There's no speed, no power behind the ball. Everything is short to medium range. He's very accurate with that and would be perfect in a West Coast offense and a Kyle Shanahan kind of system. And West Coast offense, maybe in a dome, but not in the Meadowlands in the winter when it's windy and it's cold, not going to be that effective. So the fact that the Giants are not leaning towards Shedeur Sanders, this is a good thing. I'm not sure why. I guess people latch on to guys with name recognition and think he should be the guy, but Shedeur is not the guy at number 3. So now the chatter is the Browns will take Travis Hunter at 2, which is kind of a surprise. I mean, they need a quarterback. They got Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, and Kevin Stefanski, an offensive guy. He could do something with Shedeur Sanders. But if they take Travis Hunter, who I've been eyeballing for a year now, for the Giants to take at number 3, he's just the best all-around player in the draft, and you can plug him in on both sides of the ball. He would probably be able to handle more offensive snaps than Shedeur's dad, Deion Sanders. Although Deion was an elite kick punt returner. So Travis Hunter would be able to fill in 2 roles, although not full-time in the NFL. Need some help on the back end. Need some help you need wide receiver 2. But if Abdul Carter fell to the Giants at number 3, you got to go, even though it's not a need for them. Abdul Carter just automatically upgrades your defensive line to elite. And then the Jets at number 7. Jets fans always want a weapon. The thinking is they need a pass catcher. And so Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State, we get to watch Penn State a lot, is the guy that many Jets fans wants. But, Armand Menbu, the right tackle from Arkansas, you can plug and play him at right tackle, and he's there for 10 years, and you don't have to worry about him. And then you can wind up picking up a guy in later rounds, middle rounds, and going to be good for wide receivers and defensive tackles. So if Mason Graham from Michigan was available at 7, you could do that. And I'm kind of hoping that the Giants at pick number 34 can, Jackson Dart is there, but now there's talk that the Steelers, maybe the Saints, possibly the Colts, Anthony Richardson, and kind of not working out. Daniel Jones is your backup. They might want to look at a quarterback like Jackson Dart, who, quite frankly, might be the Bo Nix of this year, and he gets drafted much higher than people originally predicted. Nonetheless, Rutgers guys, Holland Pierce, now watching Holland, he originally thought to be around the 5th round. Then he started to move up. And you saw mocks with him like in the 80s and 90s in the 3rd round. It's like, all right, people are discovering him. But as the mock draft process goes on and guys discover more guys get pushed up, more guys get pushed back, and it's all about the timing. Now, Holland Pierce seems to have dropped to like the 6th round. I was hoping he'd get there in the 3rd round. He will struggle with speedier edge rushers on the outside, but I think he's a guy who might have some versatility. You can plug him in at right tackle, and he can be a guy. A Rutgers guy is going to put in the work, and he's going to be there for 10 years. But he just needs that chance, somebody to believe in him and put him in the right position. There's been chatter that he might be a fit for the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, or the Eagles. Any of those scenarios would be good for Holland, and they would develop him to be the guy that could just be the guy that you plug in, you don't worry about, just like at Rutgers. Chatter about Robert Longerbeam. He had a really good combine. It was, 11 feet, 2 inches in a broad jump. Might have been, was it first or second? Ran a 4.39 40, which surprised me, along with Christian Dremel's 4.4 40. 36.5 inch vertical leap, which was top 10. And apparently the Buffalo Bills really like him, so we'll see where he lands. And then Kyle Monangai, we all know about his strengths. Exceptional contact balance, runs through arm tackles, carries guys with him. He's shifty to get through tight spaces. 700 touches, 0 fumbles. That's amazing. 0 fumbles. He's always moving forward, falling forward. The thing that'll hold him back, yes, he lacks top end speed and that burst that impresses, on the radar guns. But he's a guy that guy that covers the Cowboys said, you want value? You draft Kyle Monangai, then sit back and watch your locker room fall in love with him. And I would add to that, not just the locker room, but the coaching staff and the fans will come to appreciate him. So, Cowboys, who knows? Cleveland Browns, Denver Broncos, Raiders. Raiders. I'm not sold that they're going to take Ashton Jeanty, number 6. I think they might need some help in the secondary. Chargers, Vikings. I thought, the Jets would be a good fit if they were serious about trading Breece Hall. Justin Fields is a better runner than passer. Gee, who does that sound like? Gavin Wimsatt. So running those RPOs is just what the doctor ordered for someone like Kyle Monangai, although Kyle could probably adjust to anything. He's just a smart guy, good football player. But the fascinating thing is what do we have? 15, 16 guys in the NFL right now. We have a bunch of guys that are in that undrafted free agent, very late round picks. And it's going to be interesting to see. We're probably going to have a bunch of guys be UDFAs. Daimir, Christian Dremel, Mason Brantley, Reggie Sutton, Aaron Lewis, Tyreem. I've been taking him a lot in the late in my mock drafts. Aaron Lewis, Jimmy Wright Collins, Eric Rogers, Jaquan Loyal. He's got to land somewhere. Desmond Ingman-Olsen, Flip Dixon. Love Flip. Joe Lusardi, Austin Riggs. So we got a bunch of guys. Hopefully we can push more guys onto NFL rosters. Okay, they're not first and second round guys. But if we can start to add volume, even if it's UDFAs, late rounds into middle rounds, I guess that means we're kind of making progress and preparing guys for the NFL, which Coach Schiano and staff does a very good job with. Nonetheless, everybody, that's it for today. Hope you enjoy a terrific spring-like weekend. We'll keep on top of news, see what's going on. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. We'll see you the next time. And cheers. Eric Legrand's new batch, single barrel. There's going to be a little something coming up with Rutgers this fall. We'll keep you posted.